Just as President Bush became a uniter, not a divider, perversely by uniting America against his presidency, so too has John McCain tonight achieved the unlikely goal of uniting Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Our third story tonight, despite howls of GOP protest, Senator Clinton has now joined Senator Obama in asserting, yes, Senator McCain really did say he's okay with America staying in Iraq for 100 years. For days, GOP groups have hammered Obama for saying first that McCain would fight the Iraq war for 100 years, and then merely that McCain would keep U.S. troops there for 100 years. Obama yesterday stood his ground.
What John McCain was saying was that he is happy to have a potential long-term occupation in Iraq. Happy may be overstating it. He is willing to have a long-term occupation of Iraq as long as 100 years. In fact, he said 10,000 years, however long it took.
Senator Clinton today, despite GOP complaints of dirty tactics like, quoting McCain, joined in this vicious truth-slinging, referring to those 100 years during especially savage praise for McCain.
My friend and colleague, Senator McCain, whom I respect for his incredible service to our country, with whom I have traveled to Iraq and Afghanistan to meet our troops and to survey conditions there, has said that it would be all right with him if we kept troops in Iraq for up to 100 years. And again yesterday, he basically reiterated his commitment to the course that we are on in Iraq.
So, what did McCain really say?
President Bush has talked about our staying in Iraq for 50 years.
Maybe 100.
Is that
how long?
Is
we've been in South Korea. We've been in Japan for 60 years. We've been in South Korea for 50 years or so. That'd be fine with me,
so
as long as Americans are not being injured or harmed or wounded or killed.
So what's the GOP complaint? The party that says anti-war Democrats favor surrendering to al-Qaeda is, of course, a notorious semantic stickler. So let's address the points. It's not accurate just to say McCain would be fine with the U.S. in Iraq for 100 years. He said he'd be fine with us there for up to 10 million years. Literally, 10 million years. And after first rejecting the analogy, he now compares his 100-year scenario to the U.S. presence on the Korean Peninsula, meaning we would only stay in Iraq if they stop shooting at us, which, of course, they insist on doing because we won't leave. Let's bring in MSNBC political analyst Eugene Robinson, also, of course, columnist, associate editor at The Washington Post. Thanks for your time tonight, Gene.
Good to be here, Keith.
If John 100 years McCain wants to claim that he would only stay that long if troops finally start, getting those flowers we were promised 5 years ago, does that not oblige him to say how long he's willing to stay while they keep shooting at us?
There you go again, being logical, Keith. I've talked to you about this in the past. Look, right now, American troops are being wounded, harmed, injured, and killed. Okay? I think those were his 4 criteria. So, therefore, by his logic, we shouldn't be there, right? If we're only going to be in Iraq for this century, if there are just flowers being tossed at us everywhere, well, then why are we there now? There's just something, it's just completely kind of wacky about the whole thing.
Yeah, it sounds as if what he wants to do, or the logical extension of his idea, is to pull them out now and send them back in after everything calms down. So if things in Iraq somehow magically reach the prosperousness, the stability of Japan, or even the stability without prosperousness in the prosperity in the Korean DMZ, why would John 100 years McCain want to stay there? I mean, what is the sane scenario that requires both an American military presence there and makes it safe for our people there?
I have no idea exactly what John McCentury means by that, Keith. But look, this is a good debate to have. What is the proper role of permanent American military bases abroad? Should we have one in Iraq? Would that make the United States any safer? I would argue that the long-term presence of large visible numbers of U.S. troops in Saudi Arabia did not make the United States safer, demonstrably. And I can't imagine a scenario under which that really makes our country safer if we stay in Iraq for 100 years, even if somehow we manage to turn it into Switzerland.
Right, given that al-Qaeda had declared war on us because Bush Sr. put troops like that in Saudi Arabia. Last point here, political strategy. The GOP trying to scare the Democrats into not calling him John 100 years McCain or McCentury or whatever. Did he not open himself up to another interpretation of that nickname when Britt Hume defended him by saying he had a senior moment, when he himself said his choice for the vice presidency was especially important because of his own age. Is there a little something extra in this?
Yeah, I'm not sure this is a good idea. If I were on his doing his strategery, I'd say don't you bring up the age issue. Maybe others will bring it up, but for him to essentially point a finger at himself and say, remember, folks, I'm really old, I think is not is not good politics. Not a very good idea.
Yeah, but in his defense, I want to point out he's not 100 years old. Not as far as I know. Eugene Robinson, the associate editor and columnist of the Washington Post. As always, Gene, thanks. Good night.
Great to talk to you, Keith.